My girlfriend Alina broke up with me for her new man who was taking her to Paris, not knowing he was actually my newest intern. I waited until they boarded their flight, then fired him and canceled his corporate card, leaving them both stranded overseas with no money and no way home. I, David, 29, never thought I'd be the kind of person to plan elaborate revenge. But here I am, 3 months later, still getting satisfaction from what I did to Alina Martinez, 27. And the guy she thought was her ticket to a better life, 29. Let me start from the beginning. I'm David, and I've been running my own digital marketing consultancy for the past 4 years. It's been incredibly successful enough that I was able to hire a team of 12 people and move into a sleek downtown office. I met Alina at a networking event 2 years ago. She was working as a paralegal at a mid-tier law firm, always complaining about her boring job and dreaming of traveling the world. I thought her ambition was attractive. I was wrong about a lot of things. Our relationship started great. I'd take her to nice restaurants, we'd go on weekend trips, and I genuinely thought we had something special. Alina always had expensive tastes, which I didn't mind supporting when I could. She'd hint about designer bags, exotic vacations, and the lifestyle she wanted. I tried to give her what I could, but I was also reinvesting most of my profits back into the business. About 6 months ago, things started changing. Alina became distant, always on her phone, making excuses about working late. Classic signs, but I trusted her. She'd get defensive when I asked about her day, accusing me of being controlling or insecure. The gaslighting was subtle at first. She'd make me feel like I was imagining things, like I was being paranoid for noticing she was pulling away. Then came the comments about my lifestyle. She'd make little digs about how I was too focused on work and not adventurous enough. She'd show me Instagram posts of her friends traveling to Europe or getting expensive gifts from their boyfriends. The message was clear: I wasn't enough. 3 months ago, I hired a new intern through a local business program. His name was Jordan Walsh, 24, and he came with glowing recommendations from his professors. Good-looking kid, charming, eager to learn the business. He was exactly the kind of ambitious young professional I wanted on my team. Jordan was working on a special project involving our European clients, which meant he had access to one of our corporate credit cards for travel expenses and client entertainment. I should have connected the dots sooner, but I was busy with a major client pitch, and honestly, I trusted both Alina and Jordan. That was my first mistake. The breakup happened on a Tuesday evening. I came home from work to find Alina sitting on my couch with her bags packed. She had this look on her face, like she was trying not to smile. "David, we need to talk," she said. "This isn't working anymore. I've met someone else." I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. "Someone else? Alina, what are you talking about? We were just talking about moving in together next month." She stood up, smoothing down her dress. "His name is Jordan, and he's everything you're not. He's spontaneous, successful, and he actually wants to show me the world. He's taking me to Paris this weekend." Paris. The trip she'd been begging me to plan for months, the one I kept saying we'd do once I finished the Morrison account. "Alina, please, can we talk about this? I know I've been working a lot lately, but—" "No, David. I'm done talking. Jordan makes me feel alive in a way you never could. He's picking me up in an hour and we're flying out tomorrow morning. I've already moved my stuff out." She grabbed her bags and headed for the door, then turned back with this cruel smile. "Oh, and David. Jordan told me all about your little company. He says you're small-time compared to the clients he usually works with. I deserve better than someone who can't even afford to take me to Europe." The door slammed, and I was left standing in my empty apartment, trying to process what had just happened. It took me about 10 minutes to realize what she'd said. Jordan who worked for me. Jordan who had access to company funds. Jordan who was apparently using my money to steal my girlfriend. I called him immediately, straight to voicemail. I tried Alina. Same thing. That's when I did something I'm not proud of, but desperate times called for desperate measures. I used the tracking app on Alina's phone that we'd both installed months earlier for safety reasons when she was working late downtown. She was at the Marriott by the airport. I drove there and saw them together in the hotel bar. Alina was wearing a new dress I'd never seen before, laughing at something Jordan was saying. He had his arm around her, whispering in her ear. They looked like they didn't have a care in the world. I didn't confront them. Instead, I went home and did something much more calculated. First, I checked Jordan's corporate credit card activity. $13,000 in charges over the past month. Expensive dinners, shopping, hotel rooms, and 2 first-class tickets to Paris departing the next morning, all on my company's dime. Then I looked at his work. The European client project he was supposed to be managing, completely fabricated. He'd been sending fake progress reports while using the client meetings as an excuse to spend company money entertaining Alina. I had everything I needed, but I didn't act immediately. I wanted them to get on that plane. I wanted them to think they'd won. The next morning, I tracked Alina's phone to the airport. I waited until I saw their flight had taken off. Then I made my moves. First, I called the credit card company and reported the card stolen, freezing all activity. Then I sent Jordan an official termination email, copying HR and our legal team, outlining his misuse of company funds and violation of his employment contract. I also sent a letter to the hotel they were staying at in Paris, informing them that any charges made by Jordan Walsh were unauthorized and would not be honored by our company. But I wasn't done. Alina had always been active on social media, constantly posting about her life. I knew she'd be posting about Paris, probably bragging about her amazing new boyfriend and their romantic getaway. I was right. The first post came 6 hours after they landed, a photo of them at the Eiffel Tower with the caption, "Living my best life with my amazing man. Sometimes you have to take risks for real love." Paris new chapter blessed, the comments from her friends were everything you'd expect. "So happy for you. You deserve this. He's gorgeous." I screenshot everything, then I waited. The second day, she posted pictures of their fancy dinner, their hotel room, shopping on the Champs-Élysées, all funded by money that was no longer available to them. On the third day, the post stopped. Alina called me 47 times that day. I didn't answer. Finally, she sent a text, "David, please call me. There's been a mistake. Jordan's card isn't working and we're stuck here. I know you're angry, but please help us." I replied, "New phone, who dis?" Then she got desperate. "David, I'm sorry about how I left things. Jordan lied to me about his job. He told me he was a senior executive. Please, we don't have money for food or a flight home." That's when I realized the beautiful irony of the situation. Jordan had been so busy impressing Alina with his fake success story that he'd convinced her he was wealthy and important. She'd broken up with me thinking she was trading up, not knowing she was actually trading down to a lying, thieving intern. I decided to respond, "Alina, Jordan Walsh is a 24-year-old intern who was stealing from my company to impress you. He's been fired for fraud. The romantic Paris getaway you're bragging about on Instagram was paid for with stolen money. You left me for a kid who has to ask permission to use the office coffee machine." The typing indicator appeared and disappeared about 20 times. "Finally, you're lying. Jordan has an important position with major clients." I sent her a screenshot of Jordan's original internship application, highlighting his age, education level, and the fact that he was working for college credit. Then I sent her screenshots of her Instagram posts with the caption, "For everyone asking about Alina's amazing new boyfriend, meet Jordan Walsh, 24, former intern, current unemployed fraud case." The fancy Paris trip was funded by stolen company money. Just thought her friends should know what they're congratulating her for. I didn't actually post it, but I wanted her to know I could. My phone rang immediately. "David, please don't post that. I didn't know. He told me he was successful, that he had important clients. I never would have left you if I knew he was lying." "But you would have left me if you thought he was more successful than me." Silence. "Alina, you didn't leave me because you weren't happy. You left me because you thought you found someone with more money. You didn't love me, you loved what you thought I could provide. The problem is you were willing to throw away 2 years for the promise of something better. David, I made a mistake. I know that now. Can you please help us get home? I'll pay you back, I promise. We're stuck here with no money and—" "No." "What do you mean no?" "I mean no, I won't help you. You made your choice. You chose Jordan and his amazing lifestyle. You chose to humiliate me to make me feel like I wasn't good enough. You chose to leave with someone who was stealing from me to impress you. Those are your consequences to deal with." She started crying. "David, please, I know I hurt you, but we can work this out. I love you. You love me now that your backup plan fell through. Alina, if Jordan had actually been wealthy, if his credit card had kept working, would you be calling me right now?" She couldn't answer that. "I'll make you a deal," I said. "I'll buy you a coach ticket home, just you. Jordan can figure out his own way back. But first, you're going to post the truth on your Instagram. You're going to tell everyone that you left your boyfriend for someone you thought had more money, that the Paris trip was funded by stolen money, and that you were wrong about everything. I can't do that. It's humiliating. More humiliating than being stranded in Paris with no money because you chose a lying thief over someone who actually cared about you. It took her 2 hours to decide. The post went up that evening. I need to be honest with everyone. I left my boyfriend David for someone I thought was more successful and wealthy. The truth is, I was selfish and materialistic. The person I left him for lied about everything, including stealing money to take me on this trip. I'm stranded in Paris dealing with the consequences of my choices. I hurt someone who loved me because I thought I deserved better. I was wrong about everything. I bought her ticket home. Jordan, as far as I know, had to call his parents for help. Alina told me later that he'd actually been lying to several other women, using the company card to fund multiple fake relationships. The guy was a serial con artist. The legal team decided not to press charges since Jordan's parents paid back the stolen money in full, plus damages. They didn't want their son to have a criminal record. Fine by me. The humiliation was punishment enough. Alina tried to reconcile with me several times over the next few weeks. She'd call, text, show up at my office. She claimed she'd learned her lesson, that she realized what really mattered. But I'd learned something too. I'd learned that the person I thought I loved was willing to discard me the moment she thought she'd found something better. That's not love. That's opportunism. 6 months later, I'm doing better than ever. My business is thriving, I've traveled to 3 countries, and I'm dating someone who likes me for who I am, not what I can provide. Her name is Rachel Torres, 26, and she's a high school teacher who pays for half our dates and has never once mentioned designer bags or exotic vacations. Alina reached out on the anniversary of our original relationship to tell me she was sorry and that she thought about me every day. I didn't respond. Some bridges once burned aren't worth rebuilding. The funny thing is, I don't think I would have been this ruthless if she'd just been honest with me. If she'd said she wasn't happy, if she'd wanted to break up because we weren't compatible, I would have been hurt, but I would have understood. It was the lying, the manipulation, the willingness to discard me for someone she thought was wealthier that made me realize she never really loved me at all. Jordan, by the way, moved back in with his parents and works at a call center now. Alina moved back in with hers and is still posting motivational quotes about learning from mistakes and growth mindset on social media. I don't follow either of them anymore, but mutual friends keep me updated on the drama. Apparently, Jordan tried to reconnect with Alina a few months ago, claiming he had a new job and had learned from his mistakes. She blocked him immediately. Sometimes I wonder if I went too far, leaving them stranded like that. Then I remember Alina's smile when she told me Jordan was everything I wasn't, when she said I was small time compared to him. I remember how she made me feel inadequate and unworthy while she was being courted with my own money. No, I don't feel bad about it. I feel proud of myself for standing up for my worth and not letting people walk all over me. The best revenge really is living well, and I'm living very well indeed. What really solidified my decision to never look back happened about 8 months after the Paris incident. I was at a client dinner at one of the upscale restaurants downtown when I spotted Alina across the room. She was on what looked like a first date with some guy in an expensive suit. I watched her performance from across the restaurant, and it was like seeing a rerun of a bad movie. She was doing the same routine she'd done with me in the beginning, and probably with Jordan too. The wide-eyed fascination as her date talked about his job, the way she leaned in when he mentioned travel or expensive hobbies, the calculated touches on his arm when she laughed. It was all so familiar, so rehearsed. I realized I was watching a predator at work. The guy seemed nice enough, probably had no idea what he was getting into. Part of me wanted to warn him, but I stayed out of it. Some lessons you have to learn the hard way. What struck me most was how empty she looked. Even when she was laughing and playing the part of the interested date, there was something hollow about it. Like she was performing a role she'd practiced so many times it had become automatic. I actually felt sorry for her for a moment, until I remembered how she'd made me feel that night she left. That's when I knew I'd made the right choice. Alina hadn't learned anything from our experience. She was still the same person, looking for the same shortcuts, playing the same games. The only difference was now I could see her clearly. My phone buzzing snapped me out of my observations. It was Rachel, texting me a funny meme about her students. Simple, genuine, real, everything Alina had never been. I've learned so much about myself through this whole experience. I learned that I'd been settling for someone who saw me as a means to an end rather than as a person worth loving. I learned that I'm stronger than I thought, capable of standing up for myself when it really matters. Most importantly, I learned the difference between someone who loves you and someone who loves what you can do for them. The business has grown beyond anything I imagined. We're now a team of 22, and last month we signed our biggest client yet. The irony isn't lost on me that Alina leaving actually freed me up to focus on work in a way I hadn't been able to when I was constantly trying to prove my worth to her. I've also learned to spot the red flags I missed before. The entitlement, the constant comparisons, the way someone treats service workers, the subtle put-downs disguised as jokes. Rachel is the complete opposite of all that. She celebrates my successes without trying to claim credit, supports my goals without making demands, and contributes to our relationship as an equal partner. Sometimes people ask me if I regret how I handled the situation. They think maybe I should have been the bigger person, should have helped Alina get home regardless of what she'd done. But I don't see it that way. Alina made a series of choices based on greed and selfishness. She chose to leave someone who loved her for someone she thought could give her more. She chose to humiliate me and make me feel inadequate. She chose to celebrate her betrayal on social media for everyone to see. I simply let her live with the consequences of those choices. That's not cruelty, that's accountability. The real victory isn't that I got revenge on Alina and Jordan. The real victory is that I discovered my own worth and refused to let anyone treat me as less than I deserve ever again. I'm with someone who appreciates me, my business is thriving, and I wake up every day grateful for the life I've built. Alina did me a favor by leaving, even if that wasn't her intention. She freed me from a relationship that was slowly eroding my self-respect and opened the door for something real and meaningful. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you turns out to be the best thing that could have happened. I'm living proof that sometimes the best revenge really is just living well, and I'm living very well indeed.